Long Island. Nassau. 42 people were injured, 2 seriously, after a bus accident on the Southern State Parkway. The top of the bus was sheared off after hitting an overpass near exit 19 in Lakeview on Sunday just after 9 p.m. Bus driver used non-commercial GPS before crash. Injured students, ranging in age from 16 to 18, were returning from a spring break trip to Europe. Most are from Huntington High School. The driver of a coach bus full of students that struck an overpass on the Southern State Parkway, shearing off the bus roof and raining debris on the 44 aboard, used a non-commercial vehicle GPS that routed him onto the restricted parkway, state police said Monday. The crash crushed the roof of the white bus down to the tops of the seats headrests for the length of the vehicle, leaving 2 17-year-old girls seriously injured, 5 others with moderate injuries and 3 dozen with minor injuries. The only warning passengers may have had, seconds before the impact, was a shout to duck. State Police Major David Candelaria said. The preliminary investigation showed there were no signs of braking, stopping, anything like that, Candelaria said. No one was screaming, saying, "Get off the parkway. Get off the parkway," he said. Police said quick action by emergency rescue workers, who extricated one person trapped under the roof and used a mass casualty protocol involving hundreds of first responders, averted a far greater tragedy. The 38 students and 5 chaperones, most from Huntington High School, were returning from a spring break trip to Europe when the bus smashed into the exit 18 Eagle Avenue overpass in Lakeview shortly after 9 p.m. Sunday, police and school officials said. Marilyn Maggio of Halesite said her daughter Amelia, who attends Huntington High School, suffered lacerations on her head and hands from broken glass and bruises. They returned from the hospital around 1:30 a.m. Monday. Receiving the call about the accident was a worse nightmare a parent can have, she said. They are on and off buses all throughout Europe, and 20 minutes from home they almost lose their lives. The driver, Troy D. Gaston of Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, had picked up the group from Kennedy Airport. Authorities believe he started off on the Belt Parkway and then entered the eastbound Southern State, Candelaria said. Buses, tractor-trailers and other tall vehicles are banned from the parkway, a prohibition New York State's master builder Robert Moses ensured decades ago when he ordered low overpasses. Candelaria said the driver had no trace of alcohol in his blood and that drug test results were pending. There was no indication the driver was speeding, he said. Gaston, 43, cooperated with police at the scene, Candelaria said. Police have not filed charges against Gaston, although Candelaria said the investigation is still in its early stages. The driver did show tremendous remorse, Candelaria said. A sign posted on the overpass says the clearance at its lowest point, in the corners, is 7 feet, 7 inches. The height of the bus, a Preverst, is roughly 12 feet, according to the bus manufacturer. Every entrance ramp to the Southern State Parkway has a commercial vehicle warning sign, Candelaria said. In my over 20 years of being in Long Island, to the best of my recollection this is probably the first commercial bus on the parkway that struck an overpass, Candelaria said. You had over the years several tractor-trailers who hit the overpasses. But it is generally from outside drivers not familiar with the area. The driver, if he stayed in the center lane, he could go through some of the underpasses, Candelaria said. I don't have any corroborative evidence from anyone on the bus that they know what was going to happen. The only thing I heard, and I haven't confirmed this, is that either a chaperone or the bus driver said duck. Later, Candelaria said, I'm not sure if it was him, the driver, or a chaperone. Someone said, duck. Referring to the GPS, investigators still need to verify the actual route through a forensic analysis of the device and passenger interviews, police said in a news release. Candelaria said he believes it was a standalone GPS that you buy from a department store. Commercial GPS alerts bus and truck drivers to restrictions. Stephen Martinez, 50, of Huntington, whose daughter was on the trip and spoke to investigators Monday at State Police Barracks in Farmingdale, said the driver should have known better. "You would think that driver, there's signs everywhere, if he drives for a living, these are the things he's required to know," Martinez said. The group on the bus had arrived at Kennedy after a trip to Europe with EV Tours and were heading to the Walt Whitman shops in Huntington Station to meet their parents, police said. The students ranged in age from 16 to 18 and were from different schools. After the crash, emergency responders used ladders placed against the side of the bus to get passengers off the vehicle. Some of the students sat on the side of the Parkway wearing blankets as they waited for transportation. "Everybody was able to walk out except one, which we extricated," Lakeview Fire Department Chief Patrick McNeil said. "There was glass everywhere. The roof of the bus is down to the top of the seat covers." The passengers were taken to hospitals within 30 minutes of the 9:12 p.m. call, McNeil said. Candelaria said the accident could have been tragic. "We were very lucky. The emergency response," he said, "probably saved lives." The Huntington School District said in a statement that members of the Huntington High School community were on the bus, which was from Irvington, New Jersey-based Journey Bus Lines. A spokesman for the company said everyone there is upset about the crash. According to the U.S. Department of Transportation, Journey Bus Lines had had 0 crashes in the previous 24 months and had the top safety rating of satisfactory. Town of Hempstead Supervisor Laura Gillen praised first responders and said the town had reached out to the state about the Parkway's safety. Last year, the Cuomo administration announced it would install electronic height detectors at 13 on-ramps scattered across Long Island that could not only determine a vehicle's height but also trigger warnings telling a driver to exit or risk striking a bridge ahead. 5 have been completed so far. Though there is such a detector at the Eagle Avenue on-ramp, it isn't operable yet. In addition, it would not have prevented the crash because authorities believe he entered the Parkway via the belt. At the Huntington School Board meeting Monday night, Superintendent James Polanski said that support staff remained on hand for students and that his thoughts and prayers were with all those affected. He advised parents not to look at photographs of the crash, saying this was a terrible, terrible accident that could have ended a lot worse than it did. A bus carrying 38 high school students and 5 chaperones crashed into a Southern State Parkway overpass Sunday night during the final leg of the group's journey home from a spring break trip to Europe, seriously injuring 2 people, state police said. Just after midnight on Monday, Major David Candelaria briefed reporters about the crash. Bus with students hits overpass, dozens hurt on Sunday. A coach bus full of high school students, returning from a spring break trip in Europe, crashed into an overpass on the Southern State Parkway. The crash seriously injured 2, left 5 others with moderate injuries and 3 dozen with minor injuries. Updated April 9, 2018 9:12 p.m. This story was reported by Rachelle Blidner, Keshia Clukey, Stefanie Dazio, Martin C. Evans, Nicole Fuller, Deon J. Hampton, Christine Chung, Lisa Irizarry, Bart Jones, Chau, Deborah Morris, Yancey Roy and Craig Schneider. It was written by Jones.